Before we go ahead and move on to the other types of elasticity of demand, I want to give you guys two extra examples from my own life and application so you guys get a better idea of what we've done so far. So first example, would you consider umbrellas to be an elastic or inelastic good? And your answer might depend on what type of weather there is outside. So suppose it's raining outside. Now would your answer change? You probably would say that umbrellas would be seen as an inelastic good in this case because it's raining outside. So number one, the umbrella becomes a little bit more of a necessity good. And number two, you have a shorter time period to decide because you need to go outside somewhere and you don't really want to get wet. So if you were a firm in the situation, what should you do with the price of umbrellas? You would go ahead and raise the price of umbrellas when it's raining outside because it is seen as an inelastic good in order to maximize your total revenue. And is this what we see in application? Well, there is one firm and company that actually does change the price of its umbrellas whether it's not raining outside, whether or not if it's raining outside, and that is going to be our good friend IKEA right here. So IKEA is pretty weird, right? So IKEA, as you can see right here, it does price its umbrellas depending on if it's raining or not. It's $4.99 for this blue and yellow umbrella right here when it's when it's sunny outside. And as we said, the intuition tells us that they should be increasing the price when it's raining outside. And is this what we see? And as we can see, it is not. They actually priced the umbrellas half off when it's actually raining. So a rainy day special. So from $5 down to $2.50. And this is the exact opposite of what we brought up in terms of the discussion or the intuition that we had in the previous lecture. And in this case, there are a lot of reasons why IKEA may want to do this, primarily because it may be some type of goodwill that they want to be for their customers. They want to build up some type of goodwill for the customers, making sure that, hey, we don't want you stranded in our very big maze-like sort of department store. And of course, IKEA is just really weird. So this is one of the reasons why they may go against what the economic theory tells them to do. The second example that I want you guys to think about is tutoring services. So would you consider tutoring services to be an elastic or inelastic good? And I can, before you can go ahead and answer that, I can go ahead and tell you a little bit of a story from my own experiences. So for those of you that don't know, I actually did my undergrad at FAU, so Florida Atlantic University, about an hour north from FIU. And during my time there, I was a TA for a class known as Q&B, so Quantitative Methods of Business. If you are a business major, you will probably have to take this class. It's advanced statistics for business majors, essentially. And at FAU, Q&B was seen as the single hardest class in the business curriculum because it is advanced statistics, and most business majors, they don't really like math all too much. So during my time at FAU, I was a TA for this particular class. And during my tenure, someone within the administration had the really bright idea of essentially transforming all the physical face-to-face Q&B classes online. So essentially, the students in Q&B, they had to take all their sort of homework online, they had all their lectures online, they had to take all their tests online. Essentially, everything was converted into an online environment. And anytime someone does this to their class, what does this create? It creates a market for people willing to take exams for other people. And who exactly was willing to provide these type of services? Nefarious people, people with loose morals, people looking to make a quick buck, so people like me. So I basically took Q&B exams for people during my time there. And during this time period, what do you think I charged for an exam? I charged about $100 for an exam, and it was a pretty good deal for me and the student. I basically guaranteed you an A. You gave me $100. It worked. It was a pretty nice deal. And they had about 4 exams that they had to take every single semester for this class. So if you were really good at doing your job, you could probably pump out 3 to 4 of these exams in the time frame that they allotted you. So that extra money that I made was a very, very nice deal for me. So this actually this sort of went on for 2 semesters, so for 1 academic year. So for that year, I was actually really, really happy. I was a happy little boy. But over the break, I sort of wanted to ask myself, what would be the highest price I could charge without losing any customers? So just along the ideas of elasticity right here. So new semester starts up, test time, midterm time is coming around, and I have a nice meeting with a nice young lady, just making sure that she's not a rat, she's on the up and up, that type of thing. So typical business sort of transaction. When we get onto the issue of price, she asked me exactly how much it's going to cost her to use my services. And what is the first number that pops into my head? The first number that pops into my head is $500. So I look her straight in the eyes and say, $500. And what do you think this nice young girl does? She looks at me, She goes straight into her purse, pulls out 5 crisp $100 bills, and says, "Here's my login information. It's very nice doing business with you." And it was at that moment I knew that I could start charging $500 per exam and not lose any business at all. So for me, tutoring services is seen as what type of good? Is it an elastic good or is it an inelastic good? In this case, it's a very highly inelastic good because I could charge a lot of money. I basically charged 5 times as much money and I didn't really lose any business at all. And that was a semester I was an extremely happy little boy. I was even happier than before. But of course, all good things can't last forever. And basically, I got caught, had the shit hit the fan. And it's pretty much one of the reasons why I'm here at FIU rather than at FAU. So this isn't to give you any type of ideas for the exams that you guys take with me, but just another example of elasticity coming in application from stories from my own life. So here we see example number 1 with IKEA, example number 2 with QMB and tutoring services. And with all of this in mind, hopefully that does give you a little bit of a better idea of elasticity and application. And we'll go ahead and turn our attention to the other types of elasticities later on in the next section. I'll see you guys there.